Hello and welcome to the Green 19 podcast. I'm Dominique Yates, joined as always by Ryan Wood and Tom Silverstein. Before we get ready for Thursday's game with the Packers taking on the Miami Dolphins. First things first, you guys get any sleep yet?
Sleep? A little bit, yeah. Yeah.
Not bad?
Luckily, most of it wasn't during my drive back and forth from Milwaukee. So
True.
I never sleep anyway. I'm a notoriously terrible sleeper. My bed and I are no friends, so no. But I don't think that has anything to do with a short week. It's a weird week from a media perspective because there's one day, and it's today, it's Tuesday, one day of access for a game. It's very odd the way that you would think a short week would be like crazy hectic, even busier. I almost feel like the opposite of that. It's almost like Monday night games that are busier.
I feel like I have more time to do my stuff. So
Yeah. It's just interesting going from that quick turnaround because, I guess we left here like 2 or 3 in the morning after Sunday's game. Then you get right back around in that turnaround. So it's always fascinating to watch just like how the coaches and the players just prepare for that turnaround. And it seems like there's been more focus on, say, the mental compared to physical. Obviously, you have to get your bodies right, but you have to turn the page very quickly. And I guess we can jump into just prepping for this game. One thing that Jordan Love talked about was going from the emotions of getting a win you wanted to get on Sunday, but short-term memory, you have to get ready for this Thursday game because you have a Dolphins team that has some confidence right now since they won, 3 in a row. Just Ryan, just thoughts on just getting ready for this game on this quick turnaround.
I think this is take the 30,000-foot view in general. This is the time of the season on the schedule where things just drastically shift because of the schedule's makeup. Everything, darn near everything, the first half of the year is a lot of noon games and it was very monotonous. Now it's completely shifting to the opposite side where night game on Thanksgiving against the Dolphins, night game a week later. You've got night games coming up in Seattle. The week later is Detroit, Seattle. Night game against the Saints. A string of night games now where they have to radically shift their preparation. And it starts obviously with a Thursday week, which is the definition of radically shifting your preparation because everything. I was talking with Josh Myers actually about how the process for players coming into this league, learning how to handle yourself on a 4-day break between games. And he said it took his first season to really figure that out. By second season, he kind of learned what worked for him. But it's a lot more hot tub, cold tub time. It is, they don't put the pads on this week between the 49ers and Dolphins. It's all about getting your body to feel good. Like just make the hurt go away by Thursday night kickoff and go play a game. And it's everything this week that is the mental workload of studying an opponent in the Dolphins, creating a game plan, but they don't actually really go out there and practice it like they would a normal week. They recover. It's physically getting your body back, mentally. Everything else is it's pushed together, it's truncated.
Along those same lines, Spoon, do you feel like there are concerns of maybe you could say that letdown because of having the quick turnaround, and especially a team that, obviously, they're 8-3 and they've done some good things, but there's still plenty of things that they can correct and work on the field. Do you feel like there could be some concerns in that regard?
No. I mean, it's such a quick turnaround. There's not much time to think about what happened before and what happened after, or what you barely have time to think about what you're heading into, and it's really what Thursday games come down to is it's really almost like straight talent versus talent, because nobody's going to be coming up with game plans that are just crazy. There's not enough time to do it. They're two teams that aren't familiar with each other. They're two different divisions. The Packers haven't played them since 2022. There are similarities in that McDaniel and LaFleur were on staff together in Washington, and McDaniel runs a similar offense. But really, I think these games, by the time you get to the second quarter, third quarter, it's just who's playing better, who is doing what they do better than what the other team does best. They'll run through their assignments in walkthroughs. I know LaFleur loves walkthroughs, so they'll go through and walk through every single assignment. But I think when it comes down to it, they call plays that they know the team can run and they know have been running them well. Yeah. So that's really what a Thursday game comes down to.
I thought it was interesting that Matt LaFleur said, I forget when he said this, it might have been before the 49ers last week, he said that he used the bye week not to really self-scout, but to like get a jump start on the Dolphins. Like he went into opponent prep, scout on the Dolphins so that he could be ahead of the curve for this expedited week of game planning. The other thing, Spoon, from everything you're saying right there, and I've kind of had this thought, everything you're saying right there tells me don't let Tyreek Hill beat you. Like, to me, that's the one guy the Dolphins have that in this type of just weird type of game, he's the one guy that can't beat you. You cannot let Tyreek Hill beat you. And so everything that you, in whatever few hours you have, everything has to start with don't let Tyreek Hill go off because he is the one guy that can beat you.
Yeah. Just for both of you guys, just what you just already kind of alluded to so we can jump into the Dolphins. You talked about Tua and Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, a lot of these guys that, like I said, it's some high caliber players, even though when you look at some of those receivers, those numbers haven't necessarily been there just yet. And before we got on camera, Spoon, you kind of alluded to, because of, especially when Tua got back from injury, offensively, they've done things a little bit different instead of just going for the long one, kind of what Jordan Love likes to do. Can you kind of explain a little bit of what the offense has done?
Well, I think they've sort of transitioned to a more West Coast type of style, and that is, I mean, they are a West Coast style, but from the Shanahan, McVay school, not that much different than LaFleur. I remember when they picked up Chris Brooks, he said they've been running, it was easy for him because McDaniel's running a lot of the same stuff LaFleur has. Except I think that they are really into using the pass as a run. That's what West Coast teams used to do. Why they had two backs, they'd dump the ball off, and if they could get 4 or 5 yards on a pass, that was as good as a run. So they were fine with that, and I think you see that with some of the yards per gain. Waddle has been really quiet until last week. He blew up last week and had a really nice game, big game. Hill has been, he's been good. He's always dangerous, but teams are taking him out of the game. And if you can stop Miami's run game, then you're in decent shape. Yeah. They're not running the ball great. If they were really running the ball well, I think they'd be really humming on offense. They're doing fine. I mean, Tua's completing like better than 70%
about 73%
of his passes in the last 4 games he's been back. The last thing, this is another team. This is the third straight team the Packers are playing who are kind of on the cusp of whether they're going to remain in the playoff race. So, they got Chicago's best, they got San Francisco's best, and they're going to get Miami's best because they're still in the wild card, and a loss would hurt them. I think that gives them 7 losses. Yeah. That's tough. So, all 3 of these games, while, the Packers should be better team on paper, they're against teams that are kind of fighting for their playoff lives.
Yeah, looking at Tua, I mean, he's nearing around 1,800 passing yards on the season. Spoon just mentioned about 73% of his passes. Very accurate guy. Only has like 4 interceptions. And you look, it's really interesting watching how the Dolphins started 2-6. Obviously, a lot of that was when he was hurt. Since he's been back there on a 3-game winning streak, just what do you see when you look at a guy like Tua, and what makes him a dangerous matchup that you said the Packers defense has a lot of respect for?
I see a guy who is, first and foremost, from the same draft class as Jordan Love, that heralded 2020 class, 5th overall pick in that class. And if you had to draft it over again, there's no question you're taking Jordan Love over Tua. I mean, there's no question about that. It's not to over editorialize, but to me, it's still just stunning that he's still playing at this point with the injuries that the concussions that he's had in his career. I don't know how you guys feel. Open it up to anyone. I was pretty surprised how quickly he came back from this last one.
Oh, absolutely.
That I did not see that happening. So, he's a really talented guy, no question about that. It's just how much longer to me.
That's a fair point. You have anything?
I mean, I hope for his health.
I do too.
I just, some of the things I've seen where he's been in that, I forgot what they call it, but that's that position.
Like you freeze,
where you're like in a fetal position because something's wrong with your brain. That just scares the crap out of me. And I hope, he's someday able to walk away from the game without any problems. I'm sure he went through batteries of tests before they put him on the field, but man, it's still, you just wonder, if the Dolphins tell him, don't try to tackle a guy after an interception, don't throw a block, don't do anything, get down when you run, whatever. That would be my advice to him, but I don't know. He's a guy. He's a really talented player.
Yeah,
I mean, he gets the ball out quick. He's accurate.
Yeah.
The one thing I remember from when they played him in 2022 was they thought they could fool him. They thought they could throw some coverages at him that if he changed at the last second, because he's trying to get that ball out quick, that if you showed one thing and did something else, you'd have a chance at some interceptions. And I don't know if that's going to be their philosophy this time around, or if they're just going to play it safe, play cover two, and dare the Dolphins to run the ball.
He's the one guy, not to belabor this point, but he's the one guy that I think shown us the ugly side of football more than anybody else in recent memory. And it's really been against the grain of what a lot of players have done. I mean, going all the way back to Chris Borland, Andrew Luck, a lot of players more and more have been retiring early to avoid these type of concerns medically, and here he is just trucking along. And obviously, yes, they surely tested everything before they put him back on the field, but it makes me a little uneasy. He's the one guy that makes me a little uneasy to see him play, and obviously you hope that he can stay healthy for his own sake. But yeah, he's really talented. The connection that he's had in the past with Tyreek Hill has not been the same this season. I mean, Tyreek Hill went off on the Jacksonville Jaguars' first game of the season, and you thought, okay, this is going to be a continuation of last year when he was the best receiver in football by far. And he hasn't had another 100-yard game this year. Now, obviously, Tua being out for a handful of weeks, that's part of that, but even with him back, Tyreek Hill has not gone off yet. And it really was when Tyreek Hill, as talented as Tua is, when Tyreek Hill came to Miami, is when Tua's game took another level. So I think if you're the Dolphins, you're coming into this game, you're coming into every game until it happens, trying to figure out how can we get their connection back to where we know it can be, which is the best in the league when it's clicking. I mean, it's the Tua and Tyreek are as good as it gets, and we're as good as it gets last year.
For both of you guys, and I'll start with you, Tom, just after watching the Packers, on Sunday in that game, what are some of the big things you feel they need to continually hone in and focus in on getting ready for Thursday? You had a shorthanded 49ers team, and it was a convincing win. And now that you get a Dolphins team that I guess is a little bit more healthier, they will have a quarterback that's playing, and some of those guys, just what do you just want to see from just the Packers just in this matchup against Miami?
Well, they should continue running the ball. They should be pounding it right and left. A lot of it depends on how Josh Jacobs is doing. I think this is a game where they're going to have to use a lot of people because, over the course of a game like that on a Thursday, I think the fresher you are and the fewer injuries you sustain over that period. One thing, the Packers have going for them is they have not had a lot of serious injuries. They haven't lost guys for the season. They haven't, every time I look up, Detroit is losing a guy or putting a guy on IR, and, it's got to be kind of worrisome for them. And the Packers have just been lucky, They haven't had that, and they go into this game. Even if Jair Alexander doesn't play, even if Edgerrin Cooper doesn't play, those injuries have not killed them.
Yeah.
You know, they've won 2 games with both those guys out. So I think, I think they have to continue to control the clock, control the ball, keep the ball out of the other team's hands, and run it. They are a really good running team.
Yeah, because they really, especially in that first half against the 49ers, they dominated the time of possession. And that was just the key, the way they had put some really good drives together. We talked about even that opening drive, almost 8 minutes of clock, and went down the field and scored. So would be, a big thing to just going into this matchup. Same thing for you, though, Ryan. Just, what are you looking at with the Packers and just what they can do either on, both sides of the ball heading into this matchup?
This is a game to me where you want it to be a springboard game. We mentioned it after the Sunday. Lucas Van Ness making an impact play. Dontavian Wicks getting a 25-yard catch. Jordan Love finally having a perfect ball security game. Can these things continue? And can you create continuity going into the teeth of your schedule here, obviously with Detroit looming, to continue building as a cohesive unit and not just being a collection of talent, of individual talent, as Spoons alluded to in the past. I think that's what this week is. The red zone. They went 5-5 against the 49ers. Can you continue that? This, to me, is a continuity type game where you're going in you feel like certain elements started to kind of emerge. You finally started seeing some sign of life, some pulse from certain guys you needed that from. Rashawn Gary, another guy. He's got 3.5 sacks last 5 games. Can he continue to get home and be comfortable in his 4-3 defense? All across the roster, you're seeing those type of things. On a short week, can they get back out there and continue that?
Well, especially in the red zone, I would imagine now they have the key ingredient to success, and his name is Josh Jacobs. Also, you mentioned Tucker Kraft and a lot of those guys that have done a lot of good things. But sticking with Jordan Love, he did talk on this. What day is it? Tuesday. That's the other thing. My days are all out of whack.
Me too.
So
this is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, right.
That's what today is.
Yeah, just call it Monday to the whatever. So on the day
with the Kentucky accent, I like that. That's good. That's good.
You know me well, but just on whatever day that Jordan Love talked on this day, he talked
today.
Today he talked about the balance of when to go for that home run ball, when to do those checkdowns, because we've talked about this at nauseum, if you will. These past couple of games, he's focusing. Okay, Josh Jacobs is right here, just open on the side. This guy here, Tucker Kraft. He talked about just that balance of when to go for the home run and not. Can you kind of just explain and break down what he said in his answer when you ask him about it?
Jordan Love came out and said it in a way that I don't know. It's not like he's not said before, hey, I want to make big plays. Like he's alluded to that, but I don't know if he's ever been as forceful in saying, I want to push the envelope. That's how I'm wired. That's how I want to play. I want to go downfield. And the balance for him is the other thing he said was finding completions, and understanding, okay, he said it starts with coverage. If your first read, your second read's not there, go find completions. And too many times I think this season he's still forced it downfield when he needs to find the completions underneath. And so I asked him, okay, so Jordan, you're a guy that wants to push the envelope, but you need to find completions. How do you balance that? And he said it's basically the same lesson that he had to learn last season. It's the same exact thing. We forget he is still a young quarterback in terms of starts, game snaps, exposure to the league. Yeah, he's been around in the league, in the locker room for a while, but this is still only his second season. There's a lot that he's learning, and he's gotten over that hurdle of, whether it's a question of his talent. He knows it's not. He knows he can make every play. So he wants to make every play. He wants to make every big play. The bigger the play, the better. But sometimes the big play is the right play, and that's just checked out. And so I think the last 2 weeks, not that he in either game would grade out perfectly from a decision making on the report card, but it's been a lot closer to that. I mean, you can remember in the last 2 games the bad decisions that he's made, whereas before then there were too many to remember. So I think that he is going in the right direction, which he did last year. This is week 13, right? Week 13 last year, he beat Patrick Mahomes in the Kansas City Chiefs inside Lambeau Field. That's where he was last year. Can he get back to that place?
Yeah. Same thing for you, Spoon. Do you feel like at least these past couple of weeks he at least has, you could say, the blueprint, if you will, on how he needs to play quarterback in this offense, especially compared to how he started the season?
I think he's still kind of searching for it. I think that LaFleur's got to help him out more. You know, some of those deep throws, going back and looking at them, there weren't really short options available. You know, first he throws the deep ball to Christian Watson, then on the next one he throws that deep corner to Melton, and there was nobody else open. Everybody else was running deep routes. I think maybe Kraft released, but there was a guy right on him. So it wasn't like there were, in that particular case, there wasn't options. Now, sometimes they're keeping in backs to give them more protection, and maybe they got to start releasing some of those backs and giving him some more options to get him to do that. You know, I mean, the more he does it, the more he'll and gets production out of it, the more he'll do it. I think from an offensive standpoint, they're still just searching. I think they know they can run the ball whenever they want, but between the play of their wide receivers and Love coming off injury, I just don't think they've found exactly what their ingredient is in the passing game. I think it's been like they're still kind of searching for it.
Yeah, and you mentioned, just kind of going back to talking about the run game, you said like they got to run the ball, get Josh Jacobs, especially his health. Do you feel any issues they might have to tweak that if, you know, Jacobs could not carry, 30-plus carries a game? Or do you feel like Wilson, Brooks, those guys could kind of help with the load?
Well, they will have to.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to have to on Thursday. I don't think that Jacobs can carry 26 times. Maybe he can. I don't know. I've never seen him in a 3-day. He's a tough dude.
Yeah. 2 years ago, the last time he had a short week, because he didn't have the short week last year, he was injured late in the season. The last time he had a short week, he had 27 carries, followed by 26 carries on Thursday. He's done. That was 2022. So my point is, if anyone can do that, it's probably Josh Jacobs.
Yeah. Well, the question is, do you want to do it? You got Detroit coming up on turf the next week, 7 days. It's not a 10-day. So how much do you really want to push him? I would try to split those carries up. Maybe he gets 15 or 17, and the other guys, get 10 or 8 or whatever they end up doing. But maybe this is a game where they can throw it. I don't know how Miami's going to play him. If they play him up in the box, I don't know. I sort of feel like the Packers, even when San Francisco brought a guy up in the box, they still ran the ball. Yeah. So I think they can do that. I think one area that they have not exploited enough and should be in the coming weeks is play action. I think they're not quite getting the wide open guys that you can get out of play action.
That's true. Yeah.
You can go to the Super Bowl in this scheme with the run game as your identity. I'm thinking of the 2019 San Francisco 49ers. I'm thinking of 8 passes in the NFC Championship game. Now, a lot of other things have to happen to do that. It's not like, okay, it's been done, so just, you have to have a dominant defense.
Yeah. And
that 49ers team did. I also think the one thing, 8 passes, but none of them were picks. Jimmy Garoppolo took care of the football. When you struggle passing the football, as they have, and run game is your identity, that means and the one thing this Packers offense has is they still get explosive plays in the passing game. It's just not consistent. But when it's not consistent and your brand is running the ball, you cannot turn the ball over. Yeah. You can't afford those. You can't afford interceptions because that's you don't have the consistency to make up for a big negative play like that. And so now you look at the defense that the Packers have. It has not been elite, but they've been elite taking the football away.
Yeah, solid, yeah.
They have some, and I think that you could expect the Packers defense to get even better potentially. because this is still a new scheme and they're getting to the back half of the year now. They're in the back half of the year, getting to the late part of the year. There could be more room to grow there. See how they could be a top 10 defense. They are very good at running the ball. If they can take care of the ball, it does start to set up like a team that could go that distance with this brand. But to Spoon's point, you start sprinkling in consistency in the passing game, more play action, and then you have that kind of balance. That's when you're cooking with gas.
Yeah, that is an interesting point about the play action because especially now with Love, he's healthy. He's done some more under center work. He's ran the ball more. Because I even think about like that opening drive where they just did like the little reverse with Jacobs, and it was just wide open field right up the middle. They have so many layers, especially with that run game. They could do some damage in the play action game. But we have talked a lot about the Packers offense. When you look at the Dolphins defense, are there any guys that of note or anybody that you're really keeping an eye on?
You can count on Jalen Ramsey still taking away the other team's best receiver. And so who they put him on will be interesting. Now, they could put him on Jaden Reed, but I would think that LaFleur will try to get Reed into the backfield a number of times just to get him away from Jalen Ramsey. Ramsey could, follow Christian Watson. They may be worried about him. Kendall Fuller's a good corner as well. I think it's going to be hard to go 5 for 5 in the red zone if they're throwing against Miami. Their pass rush is kind of like the Packers. They got a little bit of talent there, but Chop Robinson has been kind of hot lately. He's starting to come around, but they're sort of, they're can't get the pressure, just like the Packers can't get pressure with 4 men. So I think the Packers have to run the ball. I think they can be successful doing that, and it's going to be a cold game. I mean, not bitter cold from a Packers standpoint. That's not hugely cold, but if an offense, it's better to keep your offense on the field in a cold game. It's hard when your defense is giving up long drives and your offense is sitting on the bench and then has to come in and play after a long period. I think it's better to have your offense out on the field and making the other team's offense wait in the cold.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big factor. I think that's also why you like to run the ball a lot.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if that'll be an issue at all for Miami. I think just this last game, it was like 80 degrees that they played in. Now you're coming to Lambeau where it's 20 degrees.
Well, Tua is 0-7 in games under 40 degrees.
Wow.
So that's hanging over them.
Mm-hmm.
The weird part about that is he's, usually guys with small hands have trouble in the cold weather, but he's got enormous hands. I mean, his hands are almost as big as Aaron Rodgers. So that's not an issue. Maybe it's the rest of the team. I don't know. But it'll be – I think it's a little bit of a shock when you first start out. But I think once you get going, it's not really that big a deal. It might be a deal for the receivers.
Yeah. Yeah, as we near just the end of this podcast, and we're going to get him some water as soon as we finish up.
All right. Tis the season. Hold on a second. We're gonna pause.
Oh, you're fine. We'll just talk with you, right? But I guess as we near the end of the podcast, though, what are some other things that you guys are looking at? Is maybe anything more offensively, defensively, special teams, or just anything with this matchup? I can start with you, Ryan.
A over a cough drop.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, it strikes me when Spoon was saying about the Dolphins' lack of pass rush, that's been a lot of games for the Packers this season, and it just connecting the dots. Jordan Love is a quarterback that wants to push the envelope. They feel a lot of talent receiver, downfield talent. Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, even Romeo Doubs. Dontavian Wicks is a guy that's made plays downfield. They got a lot of guys that go downfield, and they have a pass protection. He's only been sacked 10 times this year. He's near the bottom of the league in terms of least sacked quarterbacks. So they have the ingredients for it. And I think that having the ingredients is maybe explains the pursuit of trying to hit the downfield plays. But knowing that just because you have the ingredients doesn't mean you have to do it. Doesn't mean that you can't just, check it down. I think I don't expect the Dolphins to have much pass rush on Jordan Love. It's just hasn't, the Packers have been very good in that area, and the Dolphins have not been. But how do they handle that, right? Do they take that as treaty to just, okay, chuck it downfield, or do they try to run an offense that has symmetry and balance and those sort of things? I think part of what makes this a weird week is because usually when you have that Thursday short week, you're going into an extended weekend. This isn't the case this weekend. It's basically in football schedule parlance. If Thursday, Sunday, they're going to another Sunday game because they have a Thursday night game in Detroit. It's a 7-day week. So how do you handle the short week without the extended time off will be very interesting to me.
Absolutely. Speaking of ingredients, and this is just a great segue, it's Thanksgiving coming up. Do you have some Thanksgiving Day, memories, Spoon? And if you have any too as well, but just from covering games or anything, maybe even Packers games, because they've obviously had some memorable ones with turkey legs too.
Yeah, I really like Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday.
Mine too.
We have a big family event that we've been doing since I was a kid on my dad's side, and but I've covered a number of Thanksgiving games. None of them are that memorable to me, except for, I guess last year's was kind of memorable, probably because it happened last year and it's the best my memory can do.
Yeah.
But also because we had a kick butt dinner after the game in Detroit. We went to that Brazilian steakhouse and it was just awesome. A whole bunch of reporters did after the game, and so that was fun. And
I got to sit next to you, Spoon.
Did you?
I got to sit next to Spoon. We broke bread together.
Yeah.
Are you trying to make me jealous saying you sat next to him?
Oh, I know you got to be jealous.
Yeah.
I think it's the first time that I've ever sat next to Spoon.
No, listen. I heard this man sing "Higher Ground" by Stevie Wonder.
That's true.
So
You win.
I
win,
win,
Dominique.
I win. No.
Yeah. Hey, I was at, you missed it. I was at Hip Hop Nutcracker in Milwaukee. Curtis Blow was leading the.
Wow.
I'll tell you who Curtis Blow is later, Ryan.
I was about to say Google it. He has to Google it.
Is that the Leonard Skinner song?
Yeah, right.
Is that play us a song, Curtis Blow? Curtis Blow.
This guy.
No.
This guy. But no, you have any good
But
Thanksgiving?
anyway, yeah.
Any Thanksgiving memories or anything for you then?
I just got under Spoon's skin there. I saw it. That's fun. I'm not sitting next to him this Thanksgiving, I'll tell you that.
Right.
My first Thanksgiving game was a downpour. The night Brett Favre came back to Lambeau Field, 2015. Packers, Bears. I actually went down to the field for at halftime for the ceremony. Bart Starr was there as well. I don't think I've ever been so drenched in my life. I did not have a poncho. I was just out there. Notebook. It was kind of like that practice early in camp where this season where it was it just bone wet. That was memorable, specifically because of how torrential the rain was that night. And the Bears actually won that game too. So, in keeping on my brand, I want to say any Thanksgiving I'm not in Detroit is a good Thanksgiving, but it was fun last year. Last year was my first time actually doing the Detroit Thanksgiving game. It's funny, 2014 is my first season here, and they were preceding that. They were in this stretch of like every other year was in Detroit, and then so I'm like, when I got hired here, I'm like, well, there goes my Thanksgivings. I'll be in Detroit every other year, and it took 10 years. Yeah. It took 10 years to actually have a game in Detroit. So. Having and knowing this from 2015, the last time this happened, having a home night game on Thanksgiving, if you have to work on Thanksgiving, that is the way to do it. I'll have my boys, Wednesday, we'll do our, I'll make some ham and go that route, have a nice dinner, and then be able to get up and watch the parade with them. We're big Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade people. I don't know when you two just, for yourselves decide what it's the holiday season. But for me, I always tell my kids, when Santa's coming down New York City streets in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, then it's okay. Then we can put the holiday classics on. It's Christmas time. at that moment. That is the kickoff for me.
Yeah, I'm not till Black Friday. I won't do the Christmas music or anything until Black Friday and beyond. So.
I'm total Grinch.
I used to be.
I have my dog. I let him loose so he can pop all the inflatables on people's favorite, because they're so gaudy. The most gaudy ones. The tasteful ones, I don't necessarily.
I must say,
I'm total Grinch.
I used to be the same way. Yeah. Having kids has very much changed me with that, and that's why I say, once you see Santa at Thanksgiving Day parade, that's when you can start selling. Because before then, absolutely not. Like I walked in after October, I walked into TJ Maxx, or after Halloween, I walked into TJ Maxx, and they were playing Christmas music. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's November 1st.
No.
November 1st?
It's just
heck no.
Yeah, I heard
absolutely not.
I started seeing Christmas commercials like on Halloween.
Yeah.
I was
absurd.
I was a little bah humbug when I saw that. I can't lie.
Yeah, and it's fun. We have a grandkid who lives in California, but I'm like, that kid gets so many presents. I don't even get any joy out of buying it because I'm like, Jesus, you don't need any more crap than you already get. He's got like 4 sets of grandparents, which is, you figure it out. But it's like I don't even get any joy out of buying him anything because he's already got everything else. I don't know what to get him.
I know it. Especially, because like I have 4 nephews, like back in Kentucky, like 11 years old, 5 years old, 3, 2 years old. So I've learned all about with Bluey and all those fun things. But I'm like, you have every action figure known to man. I usually don't know what to buy him half the time either. So maybe it's like, I don't know.
I will say one great gift we got him was a piece of cheese shaped like Wisconsin. And he ate the whole thing in one sitting. He was like, he knows Wisconsin, so that's pretty cool.
If I got my nephew's cheese, they would never speak to me again. Because they wouldn't get the Wisconsin. They wouldn't understand.
Well, you got to get the one that's shaped like Wisconsin or the one that's shaped like Bucky or, they got those kind of stores. Or cheese, you got to get the cheese curds that squeak. They have to squeak. That means they're fresh. They don't
like
squeak.
that.
Very important.
Yeah. But seriously, though, as we do wrap it up, though, and because it is Thanksgiving, though, let's have a little fun. What's the perfect Thanksgiving plate look like?
Definitely no stuffing.
I've never.
I'm definitely not sitting next to Spoon now.
Oh my God!
I'm not.
You know this about. I'm sure I've told you this before, Spoon. No, I am to the extreme anti-stuffing. No stuffing. Turkey's great. Really, if I'm being honest, like, give me a turkey leg. I'll maul a turkey leg. I love turkey leg. The rest of the turkey I can go without. I mean, I'll eat it, but the rest of the turkey I can go without. So that's why I'm going the ham route with my kids. The one thing with me, every holiday, so Christmas and Thanksgiving, that is always got to have black olives. I'll get straight out of the can, put them in a little bowl.
I'm with you there.
Pop the black olives every holiday.
I got to have dill pickles with that as well.
Okay, I don't do the pickles
in our household. Yes,
very nice. Yeah, so that's no stuffing, turkey leg, black olives.
See, I don't even want to continue this pod anymore because of that.
Stuffing is just it's awful.
I love stuff.
It's
Side note,
terrible.
though, I don't know if this is a Kentucky thing or whatnot, but I always call it dressing. I've never called it stuffing. It's always been dressing.
Yeah, I understand that. We call it stuffing up here mostly. But I've heard it called dressing too.
I sound even more like just day by day. I'm just more the outsider, right?
I never realized Indiana and Kentucky were so far apart because there's always been stuffing for me.
Yeah, when someone said like you want some stuffing, I'm like, what is that? Like, I'm not even lying. I always
just say no. It's terrible, is what it is.
I can't do that.
Stuffing is awful.
If they say, because I don't even know, I couldn't even tell you what the difference is between stuffing and dressing. Besides, I guess what they call it.
I'm gonna get so many emails for this.
You deserve them. I'm gonna create a bunch of fake email accounts and just write you directly and complain. Let's go ahead as we wrip it up. Spoon, perfect.
Well, it's probably bad to ask me because I don't eat meat.
You're healthy. You're the smart one.
Usually we cook some sort of cool vegetarian thing to go with it, but I eat all the other stuff. Like in my family, they have to have stuffing that's in the turkey and stuffing out of the turkey.
Absolutely.
Because in the turkey has, meat stuff in it, so we don't eat that. But also being Jewish, we have tzimmus, which is a dish that is really good. I've been having it. It's a hot carrot dish with a big old dumpling in the middle of it. It's really good.
Interesting.
That's probably made with schmaltz, which is chicken fat, so I'm probably breaking the vegetarian rule there. But I got to have mashed potatoes. I got to have stuffing. We have dill pickles and olives. And then I'm just a big pumpkin pie guy. I could eat pumpkin pie till all hours of the morning.
Do you do green olives or just the black olives?
Black.
Yeah,
Black.
Green olives are just like stuffing.
Those are for martinis.
Yes.
I like it. There you go. I like that. Those are some interesting plates.
What about you, Dominic?
What about you?
Oh, come on. Turkey. That's one thing I said.
Deep fried or baked?
Deep fried.
White or dark meat?
Both.
Okay.
But I'll usually on Thanksgiving I'll do the white meat. That's the thing, I didn't get this size on accident, so I know about Thanksgiving plates. So yeah, gotta have turkey, have some dressing or stuffing, throw a little gravy on it, macaroni and cheese, mashed potatoes, greens and green beans, and cornbread.
You know what I forgot?
And sweet potatoes.
Cornbread.
Sweet potatoes and cornbread.
Yeah,
cornbread.
that-
It's
Sweet potato casserole. That, just like you with pumpkin pie, I could eat a whole.
really
oh
good.
my goodness!
See, I'm lemon pie. That's the
Do
dessert.
you put
lemon pie.
the marshmallows on your sweet potatoes and stuff and
Yes.
syrup?
Yes.
See, I'm just like, just give me a yam, a baked sweet potato with butter in it, and I'm just
It's very healthy of
heaven.
you.
Yeah.
I'm in heaven.
I like
Much
that
healthier
stuff.
than me. I'm like pour all the sugary sweets on there and let me dive right in.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just perfect, and I'm ready. Hopefully, they at least have something for the media, like some turkey or something for this game.
Oh, they probably will.
I hope so.
Oh, I forgot. On my pumpkin pie, I have to have massive amounts of whipped cream.
Oh, that's a must.
Massive.
A mountain,
Yeah.
right?
And they usually save one can for me to wipe my mouth.
See, but that's the thing.
I have that delivery system all set up.
Oh, you're smart. Yeah,
I
so
need a picture of Spoon doing this.
I want to see
Oh,
this.
yeah,
I need a picture of this.
I do, but yeah, I like a lemon pie or a chess pie. Chess pie is really good as well.
Chess?
You never had chess pie?
What's that?
Chess.
I can't even
like
describe.
checkmate?
Yeah, right. I'll show you it after the pod. It's so good. Chess pie. It's like a
What's
chess.
in it?
I don't even know. It's like there's some cinnamon in it.
No stuffing.
No, it's not stuffing or dressing. I don't know what's in. I'll just have to look it up. I don't know the ingredients. I just know that
Don't know what you're putting in your system. Huh?
that's like all foods, though, right?
bad.
That's like every food, right? You don't know what's in your system. You looking it up. So while you look that up, we'll go ahead and near the end of the pod just talk about how just appreciate everything. Obviously. So what's in it? Go ahead.
I have no idea.
He's still
Look
in
at
my-
this. It's like it looks like a lemon meringue of some sort. Is that?
That's what it is. Yeah. So yeah, eggs, sugar, butter, flour, cornmeal,
It's
vinegar.
lemon,
Yeah.
almost like lemon pudding with a meringue top.
It looks
on
like lemon meringue
guess
pie.
so.
Are you sure this is another Kentucky thing?
It might be.
Because we used to have that. My dad used to make lemon meringue pie.
I
He
love it.
made a damn good
It looks
It's
like
really
lemon
good.
meringue pie.
Well, I don't know.
We're gonna get emails on this too.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna get so much. People's like, get this hillbilly off this podcast.
Yeah,
I'm
no
sure.
kidding.
Everything I'm listening, but in all seriousness, no, yeah, very getting ready for Thanksgiving.
Sure
Obviously,
you don't have any possum stew?
Yeah.
never heard of that.
I'd eat that.
Ever watch the Beverly Hillbillies? Oh, yeah. they
I'd
have
eat that over
possum
stuffing.
stew.
Give me that over stuffing.
Fine.
Right by the cement pond.
You
I'll
guys
take some
are-
possum soup over or stew over stuffing.
That's
Anyway.
fair. I watched Andy Griffith's show where they talk about taters and meat and all that.
Oh,
I
you would really like the Beverly Hillbillies.
I'm gonna
That
look
is
it up.
Funny shit.
I like YouTube it when we finish up this. But again, thank you all so much for checking out the Green 19 podcast and looking forward. I hope you have great Thanksgivings. Enjoy the game and take a minute to talk about what you're thankful for. So thank you all for checking us out. For Ryan Wood, Tom Silverstein, and I'm Dominique Yates.